So you've told me in the past that when you initially were doing bail reform, I guess crime was down. You were looking a way to kind of even the playing field between the rich and the poor, and you thought that judges would have discretion. Well, what you thought and what happened, obviously, are two different things. And almost everybody who lives in this city, including me, has bludgeoned you over the years for bail reform, cashless bail, for women getting punched across the face when they walk around the block, for, criminals walking the streets with the rest of us. This is another thing I'll have to address next week at the debate. Bail reform.
Yeah, I know. What you leave out when you bludgeon me, by the way, is I passed bail reform 6 years ago. It's been changed 4 times since then. But you still want to talk about the law passed 6 years ago, even though there's been a different governor, different laws, different legislatures that have changed it at least 4 times since then. When I did bail reform, you're right. First of all, it wasn't just New York State. New Jersey did it. About a dozen states did it. The point of bail reform was this. When you are accused of a crime, you have not been convicted of anything, and you are still innocent until proven guilty. And we shouldn't have a system where the rich kid gets to go home and the poor kid gets sent to Rikers. And there was a high-profile case at the time that really pointed to this injustice. In short, you remember the story. It was a young kid named Khalif Browder was accused of stealing a backpack from another kid. It was a questionable case to begin with. But he gets accused of stealing the backpack, goes to Rikers Island for 2 years. 2 years, because the court system is so backed up, never had his case heard. Gets abused in Rikers, winds up killing himself. How do you sit in Rikers for 2 years before you're found guilty of anything? Well, the family couldn't pay $900 bail. And that then raised the question of what should be bail, how do you set it, when do you set it? And what the initial reform said was, if it is not a serious crime, and you don't pose, it was not a dangerous crime, it was not a serious crime, then you should be released with whatever condition you need to make sure you come back to trial. So if it's an ankle bracelet, it's an ankle bracelet. If there's a history where you believe the person is going to come back because they have a job, they're stable, they have a family, but you can't make the person pay an amount they can't pay unless there's a rationale for it. And there was a list of crimes. If it was not a serious or dangerous crime, then you couldn't do bail. I wanted a caveat, which was unless the judge believed you were dangerous. And it was up to the judge's discretion. So, okay, it wasn't a serious crime, but the judge decides that you're a danger. And if the judge decides you're dangerous, then he can hold you with bail. She can hold you with bail. The legislature would not agree to that. And I had to negotiate with the legislature. It was at a point in time where the legislature could override me because they had what was called a supermajority. And I made the decision to make the best deal I could because I was trying to add more crimes that were considered dangerous. They wanted less crimes. Legislature wouldn't do the judicial discretion because they thought a judge could always use that and it would negate the whole law. And I made the best deal I could. I got more crimes added to the list. I got a provision that said if the person committed harm, then it was available. And I made the best deal I could, and I signed the bill. in retrospect, if I had to do it over again, I would have vetoed the bill. They would have passed the worst bill, but I would have vetoed the bill and then just put all the pressure on them rather than allow what happened, which is I became the scapegoat. I should have vetoed it, let all the pressure be on the legislature, and I think they would have then made changes faster. But I was then gone, Sid. If I were there, I would have made the changes. Because every time you change a law, whether it's the Medicaid law, education law, every year you change a law, the next year you always come back and tweak it. It's a never-ending process because you learn something new. But yeah, if I had to do it over again, I would have vetoed it.